Stories are often told in a direct way, with clear conflict, tension, suspense, or fast. But what happens when a story chooses to slow down? What if the audience is not shown what is wrong, but is made to feel it gradually throughout the story? In Alif Laila, we chose to begin with calm, emotional childhood moments between the two main characters, Hassan and Laila. This challenges the typical convention of starting with a lot of action or drama. Instead, our opening creates a sense of innocence. The audience is allowed to connect with the characters before any tension is built, before anything goes wrong. But the question is, how long can that innocence really last? As the story progresses, elements such as the news report begin to introduce the conflict. Rather than directly showing the war, the conflict, it is suggested through the background. This raises a question. Is it more powerful to show the conflict clearly or to let the audience slowly realize? By not making everything obvious, the film becomes more engaging, it builds suspense as the audience has to think what is happening. The film represents a social group showing a village lifestyle, strong relationships, or the culture. At first, everything appears perfect and peaceful. However, this also highlights an issue. How can simple lives be affected by events which is not in their control? Why is that ordinary people's lives are the ones most impacted by a conflict or an issue, even when they're not involved? The characters begin as children who are unaware of the world around them, of the reality. They exist in a world that feels safe to them. But as the story grows, develops, they are slowly exposed to fear, to change. At what point does childhood end? And when does reality become too overwhelming to ignore? This is not shown through dramatic scenes, but emotional development. The female character, Lala, is a poet and is not limited to a passive or a background role, but is presented equal within the story. This challenges the common idea that male characters should be the dominate in the story. Why should female characters not have the same importance, voice, and presence as men? In addition, the film touches on social issues such as conflicts, fear, political issues, and the emotional impact of war on ordinary lives. Instead of showing this directly, the focus is on how it affects the communities, the individuals, and this makes the story feel more personal. It also raises another question. Do we understand conflict better when we see it or when we see its impact on people's life? The setting, the elements, the cultures also plays a role in representation. The environment, the traditions, the surroundings helped creating a sense of realism. And this element allows the audience to better understand the world of the characters and where they exist in. Overall, Alif Laila challenges conventions by using a slower, more emotional, and maybe less direct approach to storytelling. It focuses more on the atmosphere, characters, and their development. At the same time, it represents social groups and issues in a thoughtful way and a very realistic way, encouraging the audience to question, to reflect, and engage more deeply with the story, as well as it builds suspense.